What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Roddy Rambo coming back with another video, and today, around 5 o'clock, around that time, around 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, I got a notification saying that Kawhi Leonard going to the Raptors. I was like, y'all only having him for 1 year. Now, before I explain what I'm about to watch, I'm gonna make this quick because I don't want to make this a long intro. Man, if you haven't subscribed right about now, bro. We're getting close to 1,100 subscribers anyway. But back to what I'm about to talk about. DeMar Derozen going to the Spurs. Kawhi Leonard going to the Raptors. Let that sink in real quick. Let that sink in real quick. My boy Mike is going to explain the pros and the cons of this. Who won this trade? Me personally, Spurs won that one because they got Jakob Poeltl along with DeRozan and a protected first-round draft pick. Like I said, enough talking. We're going to go right into this video, bro. And yeah, man. Mike going to spit more facts yet again. But as always, let's get right into this video.
For some reason, at 5 a.m. this morning, the Spurs decided that now was the time to trade Kawhi Leonard. That meant that I did not get any sleep at all, but it also means that we have an insane NBA trade. Now, it's very likely that this season, this trade is not going to affect who wins the championship, but I do think this trade is going to have a huge impact on the NBA in the next few years. We'll get to that when I reveal who I think is the biggest winner of this trade, but for now, let's talk about what this trade means for everyone else involved. Number 4, the Toronto Raptors. I really like what the Raptors did with this trade. They were in a very tough situation headed into this offseason because clearly the roster they had was not working. Sure, they did finish as the top seed in the Eastern Conference this season, but who cares? If there was any year for Toronto to reach the NBA Finals, it was this one, and yet again, LeBron killed them. So if you can't get to the NBA Finals with a Cavaliers team that was basically rebuilt at the trade deadline, a Sixers team that was too young, and a Celtics team that was missing Kyrie and Gordon Hayward, you know you don't have what it takes. If the veteran Raptors were good enough, they would have stepped up and proved it, but they didn't, and so changes needed to happen. Now at this point, you may be thinking, Mike, what about the fact that Kawhi has said he has no interest in playing for the Raptors? Well, if you're thinking there's a chance...
That's the thing. That's the thing, bro. He does not want to play for the Raptors. He clearly wants to play for LA, bro. He clearly wants to play for LA. That's why if I was with the Lakers at this moment, I would have told you just wait it out until his contract completely expires, then go after him. But, boy, you're not finna sit here and give up Josh Hart, Kyle Kuzma, Brandon Ingram, and a couple of draft picks just to get Kawhi. It's not finna happen. I would just wait it out. That's just me. But anyways,
he sits out. I really doubt it. Sitting out last season when the Spurs cleared him to play has already made him a major target for criticism. The once basically universally loved Kawhi is now a player who many see as a child, someone who wants everything their way, even though the Spurs have been nothing but professional with him. So for someone who apparently cares so much about his brand, sitting out seems like the worst move imaginable, which means yes, I do think Kawhi will spend next season with the Raptors, which immediately moves them into serious finals contention. Before this trade, Toronto was seen as a clear underdog to the Celtics headed into next year, but now, if Kawhi does return as a top 5 player, the Raptors will have certainly bridged the gap. At his best, Kawhi has proven to be a top 5 player in the NBA, and he's someone with championship experience who is capable of dominating an entire playoff series and knows what it takes starts to close out big games. The Raptors have not had anyone with Kawhi's type of talent in their entire franchise history. Vince Carter and DeMar have made the second team All-NBA, but they've never been first team, while Kawhi has been on the first team twice. He's also been in the top 3 of the MVP voting twice, and has been considered by many to be the best two-way player in the entire league. So sure, right now it does seem like he's going to leave after this season, but even if he does, at least Toronto decided to take a chance. Again, their current core has already reached their full potential, so now they can see what they can do with Kawhi on their team, and if things don't work out, well, both Kawhi and Danny Green are expiring deals, which means that the Raptors will have the chance to blow up their team and commit to a full rebuild if they want to. The absolute worst thing you can do in the NBA is tread water. The Raptors know this, and with this trade, by the end of next season, they're going to push in one direction or the other. Number 3, the San Antonio Spurs. I've got to say, I have mixed feelings about this trade for the Spurs. If I was San Antonio, I would have waited at least until the end of the summer to see if I could get a package that included more young talent. Look, if we're being honest here, it seems like the dynasty run the Spurs have had for the last 2 decades or so is finally over. Duncan and Parker are gone, Manu is eligible for a senior citizen discount at most restaurants, and the guy who was supposed to be a Spur for life.
I like the way he just slid that discounts on Ginobili. I like the fact that he just slid that in there. I just wanted to point that out. That was
man who San Antonio fans thought was going to lead them into the next era instead decided he wanted to build his brand and that the Spurs just weren't cutting it. Now, I don't fully blame Kawhi for wanting this, and I'll get into that later, but it is clear he went about this the wrong way. Anyway, though, for now, back to the Spurs. It's been said that Greg Popovich is going to retire after the 2020 season. There's no shot that Pop is going to want to coach a rebuilding team in his last 2 years, so that meant that the Spurs were going to look for an established all-star if they were forced to trade Kawhi. DeMar Derozen is still just 28 years old. He's a 4-time all-star, and now he'll have access to the incredible shooting coaches that the Spurs have. In his time in San Antonio, Kawhi went from a shaky shooter at best to one of the top 3-point shooters in the league. Last year, DeMar noticeably improved his 3-point shot, but still just made 31% of his threes. It'll be interesting to see just how good he can become if he continues to improve his 3, and there's no reason to think that he can't, as in the last few years he's been one of the game's best mid-range shooters, and so the Spurs will just have to work on pushing his shot a few feet back. Now, in terms of defense, Kawhi and Danny Green have proven to be the Spurs' best perimeter defenders in the last few years, while DeMar has been subpar on the defensive end at best. Again, it'll be interesting to see if Pop can unlock the defensive potential in Derozen, as he certainly has the athleticism and height needed to develop into a better defensive player. And remember, when looking at this deal, San Antonio did win 47 games last season without Kawhi. Throw in an established all-star and an improving young center in Jacob Poeltl, and it seems like San Antonio will be poised to finish among the top 4 teams in the West yet again. Of course, the Warriors are still seemingly unbeatable at this point, but if a few injuries hit the Warriors roster, well, you never know what could happen. Number 2, Kawhi Leonard. Of course, the real loser in this trade is Kawhi. When he or his uncle made the decision that the Leonard family was done with the Spurs, I don't think they could have possibly imagined things turning out this bad. After sitting out the playoffs when the Spurs doctors said he was cleared to play, people were already questioning what was going on in Kawhi's head. Then, after he demanded a trade and told the Spurs he was not going to play for them if they did not trade him, those questions quickly turned into a sort of public outrage. Throughout this entire situation, Kawhi has looked like a child who only wants things his way and isn't willing to listen to anyone else. The Spurs organization has been nothing but good to Kawhi since they took a chance and traded an established starting level player in George Hill for Kawhi when he was still just a raw prospect. And in San Antonio, the coaches have worked tirelessly to turn that raw prospect into the star he has become now. Kawhi has won a championship with the Spurs. He has developed into one of the best players in the NBA with the Spurs, but for whatever reason, that just just wasn't good enough. And again, I don't blame him for wanting to leave. If you don't remember, Jordan Brand only offered Kawhi a 4-year, $20 million extension for his shoe deal last year. That is an absolutely appalling number for one of the game's best players. In comparison, Kevin Durant signed a 10-year, $300 million shoe deal in 2014, which shows you just why Kawhi decided he needed to leave the Spurs. Despite the fact that they are constant winners, San Antonio is simply just not a flashy team, and sometimes, in order for a player to develop a brand and make huge endorsement money, they need to showcase a little bit of flash. Kawhi as a person is certainly not flashy, as he hardly ever speaks or really shows any kind of emotion at all, so it makes sense that he wants to go to the most famous basketball team in the world, the Los Angeles Lakers. I have no problem with Kawhi wanting to build up his brand, but he just went about this completely the wrong way. San Antonio did not deserve this, and because of Kawhi's actions, he now is going to have to play for a team that he absolutely has no interest in playing for. But that's what happens when you demand a trade with literally no leverage. The Spurs were free to make any trade that they wanted to, and they did, showing Kawhi that there are consequences for your actions. And number one, LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers. The real winner in this trade is not the Spurs, it's not the Raptors, it's LeBron and the Lakers. As we saw when they got LeBron, the Lakers had a plan. They weren't going to get Paul George, they weren't going to try and get Boogie, and so instead, they decided to sign players such as Rajon Rondo, JaVale McGee, and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope to one-year deals so they could target next year's free agent class. They also have made the decision not to part with their current core players in exchange for someone, Kawhi Leonard, that they could potentially get next summer without losing that young talent. This is a risky move, but it was a risk they were willing to take based on the belief of the power of LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers brand. The Lakers believe that they will play at a high enough level this year that when next summer rolls around, Kawhi will still want to join their team because they will have proven to be a serious championship contender if he signs with them. And really, when you make a decision like this, it could go either way. The Knicks decided to gut their team in order to trade for Melo when they got the chance, but they should have waited until the next summer because then they would have been a serious championship contender for the next few years. Meanwhile, the Lakers themselves made the decision just last summer to not trade for Paul George, believing that he would sign with them this summer regardless, and watched as he instead made the decision to stay in OKC. That's just how life is in the NBA. Things are often very unpredictable. You never know what's going to happen, but Kawhi joining the Raptors seems like the best case scenario here. If the Celtics or the Sixers had traded for him and went on to reach the NBA Finals, there was a chance that Kawhi would like the situation he was in and chose to re-sign with his current team. However, as we know, Kawhi has made it very clear he does not want to play in Toronto, and it is also very likely that the Raptors, even with their improvements, will not be better than the Sixers or the Celtics next year. And with an aging roster, it would make very little sense for Kawhi to stay in Toronto, so I think it's very likely that next year the Lakers still sign Kawhi and jump into the discussion as serious title contenders. Alright guys, so thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know the main channel grind's been slacking a little lately, but don't worry, I have like 4 scripts already written. The grind is going to be very real. I'm coming back, I promise. Which means if you are not subscribed, make sure to subscribe for videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday coming up for the rest of the summer. And if you're already subscribed, thank you so much for supporting. You're awesome, we all know it, and as always, have an awesome day, and cue that music.
Okay, so he basically just explained what's going to go down, about how next season is going to go down. Me personally speaking, the Lakers would most definitely would win that trade. Just going back to what he just said about LeBron and the Lakers, bro. I'm getting tired of the Warriors, bro. I'm dead serious. Now, if you're an OG Warriors fan, it's not a lot of y'all left. I'm just gonna put it out there. I said that when I reacted to when Boogie went to the Warriors. I already reacted to that, but yeah, man. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I apologize on the latency of uploads. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I've been I've been streaming on Twitch. So like I said, I need you guys to click the link below so y'all can go crazy on Twitch, bruh. Click the link below because I will be streaming over there. I'm dead serious. The link to my Twitch will be under the description box below. So I'm going to need y'all to go crazy on Twitch. Click that link. Follow me there. And yeah, man. I'll see you guys on my next one. Hopefully this not going to be the last. It's not going to be the last. The grind's going to be real. And yeah, I'm not going to hold y'all longer. It's your boy Ram, but I'm signing out.